Ei, gente, bom dia, tudo bem? I want to take a look at another group of verbs that require the use of the subjunctive, okay? So we have seen the verbs that indicate wish, okay? So for example, recomendar, to recommend, querer, to want, pedir, to ask, aconselhar, to advise, esperar, to hope, okay? So these verbs are going to be in the indicative in the main clause. And then in the dependent clause, the verb must be in the present subjunctive, right? So for example, if I say, estou com dor de cabeça, I have a headache. So you're going to say, Vanessa, eu sugiro que você tome uma aspirina, right? I suggest you take an aspirin. So, eu sugiro, indicative, que você, and then the verb tomar is going to be in the present subjunctive, okay? So, the first group of verbs that require the use of the subjunctive are verbs that indicate a wish. Now let's see the second group, which is the group that indicates a doubt. Okay, so dúvida, that's doubt. And the verb to doubt is duvidar. It's an AR verb, okay? So let's see here. Verbos, and these verbs have to be in the negative form, and I'm going to show you some examples. So you have the verb acreditar, to believe, pensar, and achar, both of them mean to think. Okay, and crer also means to believe. Okay, so you have two verbs that indicate to believe: acreditar and crer. Pensar e achar, to think. So let's take a look at let's take a look at some examples. Não acho que ele esteja falando a verdade. So não. So this is what I mean when I say these verbs have to be in the negative form. Okay, so you have to say I don't think that. So when it's in the negative, you have to use the subjunctive. Não acho que ele esteja falando a verdade. Remember that the verb estar in the subjunctive, it's irregular. Então, esteja, esteja, estejamos, estejam. Não acho que ele esteja falando a verdade. I don't think he is telling the truth. Não acredito que você tenha tanto dinheiro quanto você diz que tem. I don't believe you have as much money as you say you have. Então, não acredito que você tenha. So, the verb ter is in the subjunctive. And guys, remember that. How do you form the subjunctive? You conjugate the verb in the first person in the indicative. So, eu tenho. Remove the O, and then you add the endings of the subjunctive. Ter is an ER verb, so you're going to add a, amos, ão. Okay? Não penso que ele saiba a resposta para o nosso problema. So, I don't think he knows the answer to our problem. Okay? So, the verb saber, it's an irregular verb in the subjunctive. Que eu saiba, que você saiba, que nós saibamos, que eles saibam. Não creio que nós cheguemos a tempo para a conferência. So, I don't believe we will arrive on time for the conference. So, the verb chegar in the subjunctive, okay? So, I don't believe we arrive on time. Now, so these same verbs, if you use the verb now in the affirmative form, then you don't need to use the subjunctive, okay? So instead of saying, I don't think he's telling the truth, if you say, I think he's telling the truth, then you use the indicative. So look at the example. Eu acho que ele está falando a verdade, okay? So the verb estar now is in the indicative, okay? Eu acredito que você tem tanto dinheiro quanto diz que tem. So I believe you have as much money as you say you do. Eu penso que ele sabe a resposta para o nosso problema. So, I think he knows the answer. E eu creio que ele é professor. I believe he's a teacher. Okay? So, that's when these verbs are in the affirmative, the verb in the dependent clause is going to be in the indicative. Okay? If it's in the negative, eu não acho que, eu não acredito que, eu não penso que, then the verb in the dependent clause will be in the subjunctive. And the expressions that indicate doubt. So you have the expressions. É possível que, so it's possible that. É difícil que, that means it is not likely that, okay? É provável que, it's probable that. It's improbable that, é improvável que. So look at the examples. É improvável que ele... subjuntivo, ok? Que ele faça todos os exercícios corretamente. So, it's improbable that he do the exercises correctly, all the exercises correctly. So notice the verb fazer. So in the first person, eu faço. Take out the O, and it's an ER verb, so faça, faça, façamos, façam. É difícil que ele chegue na hora certa. So it's unlikely that he arrives at the right time. É provável que chova à noite. It's probable that it will rain at night. É possível que a Vanessa dê uma provinha bem fácil. It's possible that Vanessa give us a test that is very easy. Okay? So these expressions, you must use the present subjunctive. Now, if the expressions indicate certainty and there is no doubt involved, then you're going to use the indicative, okay? So that's the case with the expressions é óbvio que, it's obvious that, it is certain that, é certo que, é verdade que, it's true that, okay? So you use the indicative. É certo que ele tem medo de avião. It's certain that he's afraid of planes. É possível que nós temos de estudar. É óbvio que nós temos de estudar. It's obvious that we have to study. É verdade que eu sei dançar. It is true that I know how to dance. Não, não é verdade que eu saiba dançar. And with talvez. Talvez means maybe. Okay, so every time you use maybe, there is an uncertainty implied, so you have to use the subjunctive, ok? Então, usamos o presente do subjuntivo porque o advérbio implica incerteza. Talvez eu tenha de viajar na semana que vem. So, maybe I'll have to travel next week. Talvez nós cheguemos mais tarde amanhã. So, maybe we arrive late tomorrow. Talvez eles comprem um carro novo. So, maybe they'll buy a new car. Talvez você possa me ajudar. So, the verb poder, to be able to, right? Então, eu posso. So, the verb poder. Take out the O and the endings. Possa, possa, possamos, possam. Talvez você possa me ajudar. So, maybe you can help me. Talvez o voo seja cancelado. So, maybe the plane will be canceled. Talvez ele goste de morar sozinho. Maybe he likes to live by himself. So guys, just remember, this is a rule. You just have to memorize these expressions and remember. Okay, so the two groups that we have learned so far. Verbs that indicate wishes, okay? And verbs now that indicate doubt, okay? And the verb duvidar, for sure, right? So, if I say, for example, ele tem $2 milhões. So, he has $2 million. And then I say, I doubt he has $2 million. You're going to say, eu duvido que ele tenha $2 milhões. Now, if you think it's probable, you can say, é possível que ele tenha $2 milhões, ok? Or, maybe he has $2 million. Talvez ele tenha $2 milhões. Or, I don't believe he has $2 million. Não acredito que ele tenha $2 milhões, ok? So, you can just play with these as much as you want, ok? Obrigada, gente. Tchau. Até semana que vem.